tournament, and for Ben here, an opportunity to potentially be able to draw in the top 8 next round with a win.
Flip the names and decks, please.
I think Ben is the favorite here.
I like his matchup.
Yeah.
Now, Rudy's deck is pretty robust. I mean, and he has a solid sideboard for a variety of matchups, but I do like Ben's side of the table here. Game 1, Rudy with plenty of dead weight, not a lot of counter spells. You can see there's a lot of hedging going on in Rudy's list. 3 Force of Wills, 2 Hypnotorax, 2 Thought Seizes, 2 Liliana the Veils, not trying to commit too much to any one line of play. But against a deck like Storm, that could be a very punishing strategy, at least game 1.
Deathrite Shaman off of an Underground Sea will begin things. Verdant Catacombs in the land used to search up that Underground Sea. Gitaxian Pro will be played here by Ben. We'll see a Brainstorm along with a Hypnotorac, an Abrupt Decay, and a couple of lands here for Rudy. So Hypnotorac, a card we haven't seen a lot of this weekend. Only 2 copies in Rudy's deck, but plays a pretty big role against Storm.
Very good against Storm. You know, hitting any 2 cards, very potent against this deck that's all about assembling critical mass.
Ben will draw a card. We'll see what he wants to put together on his first turn of the game. Rare for Storm to be able to go off on turn number 1.
Though the coast is clear.
It is very clear.
No counters in Rudy's hand.
Oh, there's a Duress. Yeah, I can't take the him fast enough. Get that out of here. Then I'll leave Briksza with a Brainstorm, an Abrupt Decay, and a couple of land. Chartless Agent to draw.
Very good draw here.
Ancestral Visions.
Even better.
Yeah, they'll be drawing 3 of them. Thoughtseize, Visions, a Misty Rainforest, and a Passing the Turn. Not a bad turn number 2, that's for sure.
Though, critically, no Force of Will. There is a Thoughtseize in Rudy's hand, so that's very good if he gets to the next turn, but still no protection.
And these Charlotte Sultai decks, they vary between the number of Forcibles that they play. Sometimes you see 2, sometimes you see 3, sometimes you see 4, sometimes you see none at all, and they're all on the sideboard. So depending on what Ben thinks Rudy has, if he has the ability to go off here on turn number 2, you might take the opportunity to try to go for it.
Well, the coast is reasonably clear, and you know, Rudy has a Brainstorm in hand that Ben knows about, so he's getting a lot of looks at cards next turn too. Don't know if there's anything to be done. It looks like his hand's pretty land heavy, but wouldn't surprise me if Ben got the right set of cards here, if he would go for it, even not being 100% sure what's in Rudy's hand.
He's going to start off with a Brainstorm. So he will draw 3 cards and put 2 back here in just a moment. It doesn't feel like a turn that he can go off, though he does have a copy of Dark Ritual in hand. Looks like a Cabal Ritual and an Infernal 2 or 2. So stranger things have happened as Ben does put back 2 cards.
There's a lot going on in that hand. Looks like a lot of rituals.
Lotus Petal 2. So it's certainly not out of the question, that's for sure. Cards are going back. Brainstorm's done resolving. Ben going to sacrifice blue to Delta very quickly, go down to 17 in the process. We'll see what land he wants to search up. I'll go with another copy of Underground Sea.
Standard Premier IQ players, your pairings are up at pairings.starcitygames.com and posted on the pairings board.
See maybe another Brainstorm coming, perhaps that Dark Ritual. Maybe it's go time.
Your table number for your match and then find your seat.
Does have a Preordain too.
Brainstorm in hand. He has the option of brainstorming here to protect himself from a discard spell, or Preordain, which is a little bit more efficient to get out of his hand right now. Elects to wait.
Here's a Thoughtseize. Ben very wisely saving that Brainstorm for a situation just like this. So he'll draw 3 cards. 2 will go back. 2 of which you have to imagine he's going to hide. Doesn't want Rudy to see or take. Wants to leave himself with the ability to potentially go off next turn if possible.
And he's leaving Infernal Tutor on top of his deck. To me, that indicates that he's planning on going off next turn, if that's the draw step he wants. Being able to go off next turn in the face of a Thoughtseize right now is very impressive.
Brainstorm resolves. A Dark Ritual, a Cabal Ritual, Lotus Petal, a Ponder, Cabal Therapy, and a Badlands are the cards that Briksza has to choose from. One of those, of course, will go to the graveyard from the Thoughtseize. The rest will stay in Ben's hand, and then Rudy will move forward accordingly.
This is an interesting guessing game because, you know, if you're in Rudy's position right now, do you think that Ben has the capability of going off next turn? Does he have something live on the top of his deck? If that's the case, you'd prefer to take a Ritual, but it's possible that Ben's not able to set up a kill next turn, and then Ponder is the real prize out of his hand.
And Ben pointing to the Cabal Therapy, saying, you probably want that, right? Well, that seems rather unlikely. All right, we'll put that one back with the land. Since you can put the Lotus Petal back there too. So
I think you can probably add Dark Ritual to that stack too. The Cabal Ritual is going to be net more mana here, as Threshold is going to be trivial for Ben to achieve.
yeah. There goes the Cabal Ritual. Ponder and Dark Ritual will stay. Into the red zone we go. Misty Rainforest. Sacrifice that. Get a Tropical. As Tarmogoyf looks like it's going to be deployed as well. The 3/4 Lurgoyf and a passing of the turn.
And I think this is a position where I would have preferred for Rudy to lead off the turn with a Brainstorm here. He's got a mana left over that he's not going to be using, and it could have definitely informed his Thoughtseize there, for sure.
Weinburg will draw.
Standard players.
The Infernal Tutor that we knew about is still on top of his deck.
Apparently there's an online pairing issue right now. Please check paper. That is the correct thing. We are
So here's the
re-pushing
Ponder.
out.
It's possible that Rudy selected this line of play because Ben is still aware of the Brainstorm in hand. So if Ben Cabal Therapies, he can either name Brainstorm, and then if Rudy has drawn Force of Will, plus a corresponding blue card, Ben's in trouble. Or Ben names Force of Will, and Rudy still has the opportunity to Brainstorm and look for help if Ben goes for the kill. If Rudy just main phases the Brainstorm and is tapped out, Ben can just go Cabal Therapy, name Force of Will. That's the only protection Rudy can potentially have. So there is an argument from Rudy's side of the table of not casting the Brainstorm just yet to make Ben's Cabal Therapy a bit more complicated in the event that Ben goes for the kill this turn.
Take a draw. Here's Infernal Tutor. Just a regular one, too. Deathrite Shaman. We'll take care of a land. Here's a Brainstorm in response. 3 cards coming. No Force of Will in there. Baleful Strix, a Polluted Delta, and a Swamp. Looks like Delta and Swamp are going to go on top of the deck.
And Rudy can't shuffle his deck, so he's going to be exposed next turn.
Yep.
And given the line of play that Rudy selected, if he had no intent on countering this Infernal Tutor, I would have just let this respond. Because the incentive for Rudy's line of play is the Brainstorm in his hand makes things complicated for Ben. If Ben respects the possibility of Rudy having drawn Force of Will in the interim turns.
Right now.
Ben's going to pass the turn back, which means he's getting ready to go off next turn.
Right. And it also means that, Ben can now literally just Cabal Therapy Force of Will. The coast is clear, and if he's got it, he's got it. I suppose
very quickly searching up a land.
I suppose Rudy's Baleful Strix gives him a hope here on top of his shuffle to find something that matters.
There's an attack. Here's a Strix. New card coming. It's a Swamp. Now we go back Ben's way. Ben will draw. We know he's got 2 Dark Rituals over there. You can see Briksza's hand, the Ancestral Visions, Abrupt Decay.
No
Couple of
protection.
lands, nothing doing.
He has a Deathrite Shaman available, which could make things complicated if Ben goes for either Ad Nauseam or Past in Flames. But in terms of any protection in his hand, he's got nothing.
Ben giving this a long thought here about what he should do this turn.
Remember, it's always this complexity of, do I need the mana? Can I afford to cast this Cabal Therapy or not?
And Cabal Therapies, it would just be for Forcible, as you mentioned. I can't imagine him Cabal Therapying for anything else, so he's going to start with the Dark Ritual. Well, something Storm players do here as well is they might be fairly confident that they've got the game kind of wrapped up. Just want to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Yep.
Take your moment, do the math, figure out your line of play. Another Cabal Therapy. Here's a Lotus Petal. And now here's an Infernal Tutor.
And Rudy might tell him I got nothing.
Okay, let's try this against standard players.
Ben is hell-bent at this point, so might be a Pass in Flames here. Though he does have to be a little wary of the Deathrite Shaman that's in play.
Well, he's got multiple rituals in his graveyard, along with 2 copies of Infernal Tutor.
Yeah.
So I think he can work around a Deathrite Shaman.
My apologies for the problems and for the repair. Standard players. you have 50
Storm
minutes to
count
respond.
of 5 at this point. 2 black mana floating. I believe Pass in Flames should be enough to get it done.
Given the amount of mana that Ben has right now and the volume of redundancy in his graveyard, he should be good.
Because now here's a Pass in Flames. And he'll have no mana floating at this point, but the fact that he has 2 Dark Rituals in the graveyard is what matters, I think, the most here.
Yeah, you can kickstart the engine here a couple different ways.
Yeah. I think that's the big one. So there is Pass in Flames. These are all the cards that Ben gets to use. See how he organizes graveyard. Rudy may be saying I'll have a response here, maybe not.
Ben pointing at the Past in Flames, an unlikely candidate to be exiled by
you
Deathrite Shaman.
don't think he would. You don't think he wants to take that one. Rudy gonna do a little math, see what's gonna happen here. See, the most important card that's down there is Cabal Ritual, in my opinion, because no mana's floating at this point. So Ben can cast Dark Ritual and Dark Ritual. That's gonna bring up to 5 mana.
Yeah. Cabal Ritual makes the most mana. So assuming that getting the whole thing kickstarted isn't a problem, which it isn't because there's 2 Dark Rituals down there, then Rudy's, I believe, best served getting the Cabal Ritual out of there.
That's what he's gonna go after. Now, my assumption is that Ben can win from this point. Though again, having no mana floating does make things a bit of an issue, and it might be reliant on a card like Ataxian Probe here to actually kickstart some things.
Well, it seems like, he has the option of going Ritual through the Petal, Infernal Tutor. I suppose he's short on mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that he can generate 5. 5 minus 2 from the Infernal Tutor is 3. 3 is obviously not enough to get the Tendrils. Now, it's not impossible for him to go down to 3 with the Tutor, get a Cabal Ritual, 3 down to 1 plus 5 is 6, and go that way. 6 minus 2 from the other Infernal Tutor is 4. Get a Tendrils, kill him as long as he has no cards in his hand.
Yeah.
So I think that line of play will actually win him the game as long as his graveyard is large enough, which it should be. And we'll see. There's a Probe. That's going to draw a Brainstorm. And actually having a card in hand right now is actually really bad.
I was going to say, I for the reasons that you mentioned, I think that Ben didn't need to do that. And in fact, probably should have pursued a different line of play and then maybe probe after the fact in case things go wrong. But now he's not hell-bent. He's at the mercy of whatever he drew, which is a Brainstorm, and he can't get that out of his hand.
So here's 3 cards. The best thing he can find actually right now is a land.
Lotus Petal is not shabby either.
Yeah.
Lion's
Eye Diamond is probably the best one.
Yeah, now this is trivial.
Yeah. And that's going to get the job done. So Ben Weinberg is going to win at game number 1 here over Rudy Briksza. Storm up a game over Charlotte Soltai as both players are kind of going back and forth and seeing, is there a way that you could win?
Yeah.
And perhaps Rudy explained the line of play that I kind of brought forward, which is your first Infernal Tutor finds Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual takes you from 1 mana up to 6. Infernal Tutor puts you down to 4. Tendrils is enough to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy, you can see him point at the 2 rituals, point at the Infernal Tutor, point at his deck, point at the other Infernal Tutor. So Rudy saw that there was a kill there, but was hoping that Ben didn't. Ben did not, but Lion's Eye Diamond rolling off the top there locks up game 1.
I've seen worse draws off of Brainstorm. As we turn our attention to the sideboards here, Briksza does have additional Force of Will on his board. That will allow him to bring himself up to 4. Vendilion Click, a Thoughtseize, a Disfigure, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, a Numazawa's Jite, a Pithing Needle, a Baleful Strix, a Pernicious Deed, 2 Golgari Charms, a Maelstrom Pulse, and 2 Nile Spellbombs.
We've seen Rudy here before. He likes to bring in the stuff that attacks the graveyard. Definitely the 2 Nile Spellbombs. I don't know if Grafdigger's Cage is a little bit too extreme, especially with the Spellbombs already coming in. And naturally, the Force of Will, the Vendilion Click, the Thoughtseize, all big upgrades.
Other side of things here for Ben.
3 copies of Surgical Extraction, a Massacre, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Defense Grid, 2 Chain of Vapor, an Empty the Warrens, and 2 copies of Dark Confidant. A lot of mediocre options here available. I think the Empty the Warrens is okay in this matchup. I think the Dark Confidants are all right. Chain of Vapor, Defense Grid and Pyroclasm are all, again, average additions. I think it's going to be light sideboarding, probably just the Confidants and the Empty the Warrens.
Well, these players are going to shuffle up here for game number 2. And while we do wait, we will discuss Winter Regionals next weekend. The Open Series goes on hiatus, but that doesn't mean there isn't Magic to be played.
Absolutely. You see all the venues there posted, and February 7th, this coming Saturday, will be the date in question. Get over to starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. Please keep in mind that the first 200 players to register at each regional championship will receive this playmat for free.
Acorn Mystic, Force of Squirrel, Squirrel Confidant, and our good friend Squirrel Storm, all together on one playmat, free and exclusive to the first 200 players that do sign up for Winter Regionals. Plant your flag February 7th. Find out more information at starcitygames.com/regionals.
I think a lot of players who are competing in this event, we're going to see them at the regional championship next weekend, too.
I think so.
On the hunt.
Got to get those Open Series points. Also, there's just some money hanging out there, too.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like money?
I actually didn't even realize it. I did not know there was that much money at the regional championship. Pretty substantial.
A sweet tournament. The reason we're able to do that tournament, too, is, states went so well last year, well attended. It seemed as though everyone enjoyed it, that we're able to bring more organized play to you guys in the form of regionals. And assuming regionals goes well, who knows what's next?
Especially because the format's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, for the players who didn't get an opportunity to participate in DC, this is likely their first real big standard tournament with the new cards.
Yeah.
And anyone who tuned into DC or played in the event knows that standard is pretty fun right now.
Yeah, standard is great.
At least for now. You never know. Things can take a sour turn. Someone discovers some super sweet deck. But for the time being, it does appear to be very, very fun.
Someone takes Teamer Ascendancy and further breaks it.
Yep.
It's possible. Not the Ascendancy I expected to see be broken. That's for sure.
No, I just would have assumed that it would have gone into some sort of, Fires of Yavimaya style. Yeah, I got some big guys, and I'm kind of doing this for value. Which, actually, that Ascendancy deck does do a little bit of. But mostly a combo deck, and it was very impressive. There's a kernel of something very good there.
I think so. Oh, Weinburg and Briksza. Ben sitting at 11-1, Rudy 10, 1-1. 3 rounds of play left here in the Swiss. And if Ben wins this match, he's basically locked up top 8.
Yep.
Might be able to say the same for Rudy, too. So this match is certainly very important. And really, so far, this has been Ben's tournament.
He's been first place, last undefeated player for most of the event.
Death by Shaman to start things off here for Briksza off a Swamp. Weinberg with a Gataxian Probe. Get a good look at Rudy's hand. Him to Torak, a Thoughtseize, a Liliana, a Charlotte's Agent, and a Tarmogoyf. One could argue a risky keep, but I can certainly see keeping this if I was in Rudy's situation.
Yeah, the problem now is that the Gataxian Probe means that Ben will be loath to sacrifice a fetch land if he can avoid it. Rudy does keep some very risky hands. He's been doing this a lot.
I think his matchup against Storm is pretty bad.
I think this is a fine hand.
Yeah.
It's risky, of course, but it's at least got pretty high upside, and even if he misses his land drop, there's at least a Thoughtseize.
There's an underground sea, so no fetch land. I agree with you. Even if it was a fetch land, I think it's unlikely that Ben would crack it.
He would just pass the turn.
Yeah.
With him and Liliana in hand, can't risk it.
Ben does have a duress to cast. There is duress. And he's going to take him again. Just him is too good against Storm.
Yep.
Force of will to draw. Not a land, but not a bad draw.
Yeah, he has a blue card to pair with it.
Here's a Thoughtseize. Ball Therapy, Preordain, Infernal Tutor, a couple of lands here in a tropical island, a basic island, and a Scalding Tarn.
I mean, there was a very greedy line of play with the Therapy in hand where he can take Thoughtseize, hope that Rudy misses, and then Therapy him the following turn.
It's a Preordain. Take a look at the top two, will Ben. Figure out where he wants them.
Brainstorm, really the card that Ben's looking for right now, as his hand's very heavy on lands.
There's a Trop and a Pass. Briksza with Ancestral Visions. Yeah.
Not what the doctor ordered.
All you can do is pass the turn back with the Deathrite Shaman activation at the ready.
Still, you know, Rudy missing these land drops, not good for him. But on the balance, having a Force of Will, not the end of the world.
Yeah, for sure. Ponder time. Ben's going to take a look at the top three. We'll see if he's going to keep or shuffle. There's a Volcanic.
And Ben was able to find Brainstorm, which is
It's
very good for him.
Rudy going to remove a card with Deathrite Shaman, draw another copy of Force of Will. Again, not a land, but now Rudy has 2 Force of Wills and 2 blue cards. One's Ancestral Visions, one is Shardless Agent. So, again, not so bad.
Yeah, he's very vulnerable to Cabal Therapy. Rudy's actually forced to Force of Will Cabal Therapy if it shows up.
Yes, for sure.
But again, given that he's missing the land drops, these are pretty fortuitous draw steps.
Ben and play a Brainstorm in a turn. Draw 3, put 2 back. Brainstorm done resolving. He'll take a draw. He already knows what it is. Quite a few lands, as you did mention.
And still no interest in shuffling until the very last moment here.
There's Probe. And he was unsure of what Rudy was working with. Now he knows. 2 Force of Wills. Shardless Agent, Ancestral Visions, Tarmogoyf, Liliana, the Veil. Cabal Therapy is looking really good right now.
If you'd like to play a little more standard before you go home,
Rudy has to force it, but he can force it and still leave himself with Force of Will protection.
a few minutes. Again, this is the last call for today's standard challenge.
There's an island. Just a pass as Rudy does eat. Like a tax improv, you saw a yes mouth there from Briksza. I finally drew a land.
Very important.
Looks like he might be casting Tarmogoyf, but Liliana could be an option here as well.
Well, Ben's done nothing for so long that you have to imagine he's got some buffer in his hand.
Like getting a clock on the table instead of Liliana?
I think so. I don't know how much disruption. I guess with 2 Force of Wills in hand, it's pretty attractive to get Liliana out there. So unlikely Ben can kill you.
It's a little, I guess, it's a little awkward, right? Because if he plays Liliana and then he ticks it up, he's discarding Tarmogoyf, right? Because he's not discarding either
Right.
blue card or Force of Will. So that's what Liliana would accomplish, which is put it into play, make Ben discard a card. I discard my Tarmogoyf, which is my clock. And then every card I draw after that, I'm not going to discard a blue card or Force of Will, so then my hand is kind of forced on what I can even do with the Liliana. Now, Tarmogoyf isn't the fastest clock in the world, but in combination with Deathrite Shaman, it's a 2-turn clock. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
On the balance, yep. With further analysis, I think this is better.
Him Torak to draw. That's a nice one. Move that Vertigatic. I almost can't cast that one fast enough. And Ben with no response, just letting this resolve. His draw is clearly not coming together right.
I mean, a ton of lands. Although it's possible that even if his hand was very good right now, there's not a lot to be done, because how's he going to go after the 2 Force spells? He may just have to wait for discard spells anyway.
Yep. Infernal Tutor and Scalding Tarn with the cards discard to the him. Tarmogoyf into the red zone. Puts Weinberg down to 7. Weinberg will draw a card.
And now Ben's got to go basically this turn. I suppose one more turn.
Thoughtseize the draw. Thoughtseize will be cast. Yeah, Ben's got one more turn, I think.
I think right now determining if he can even play on from this spot.
Yeah. Cabal Ritual, Chain of Vapor. Infernal Tutor, Lion's Eye Diamond. We've seen players bring in Chain in this matchup a lot more than I thought we would.
Is it just for Grafdigger's Cage? Seems so narrow to me.
Yeah. Goyf moves up to a 4-5. It's on its way into the red zone. Yes. Chain. Oh, that's what it's for. Boom.
Nice turn.
Yep. Replay. Tarmogoyf passes her back. Had you considered that?
Especially in a matchup where there's just so much attrition coming from the Sultai side of the table. There's counter spells, discard spells, Vendilion clicks. It's really hard to afford a card that has the potential to be dead weight.
Here's a Ponder. Rudy gonna force will that. Doesn't even want to let that resolve. Here comes Tarmogoyf. Tar pits the land, pass the turn back. Petal draw. Well, they can pick up a copy of Lotus Petal. There's a Cabal Ritual. He's gonna try to do something here. That'll resolve. There's Lotus Petal. Here's Infernal Tutor. There's Force of Will. Let's play a third game, shall we? Rudy Briksza going to tie things up here against Ben Weinberg. Charlotte Sultai and Storm going to play game number 3.
Two-headed giant players, please find your seats.
A lot of Rudy's sideboard coming into play there. The 4th copy of Force of Will. Another copy of Thoughtseize. Even stuck on one land was able to do a ton.
Well, game number 3 between these players is going to be underway here in just a moment. I still think things favor Weinberg here. Even though Rudy gets a better sideboard and more options, I still think that Ben's got to be not like an overwhelming favorite, but just the favorite.
I agree. You know, Rudy, I think, has to draw. Game 1, he's got so much dead weight. You kind of saw it there in the first game when he ultimately was defeated. Post-sport, he gets to cut a lot of that nonsense, but it's still an uphill battle.
Two pretty popular decks here in day number 2. I've seen Patrick Chapin play Storm before. World Championships many moons ago. That mono red Dragon Storm deck against Gabriel Nassif. A fantastic match. Probably writes about it in Next Level Magic, how they came to that deck list that put Chapin actually into the finals of Worlds.
Yeah, Pro Tour Hall of Famer, multiple-time Worlds runner-up, Pro Tour champion. Newest update to 2015 Next Level Magic with new examples, new updates from Patrick Chapin. It's been out of print on Paperbook for close to a year now, so now available on Paperbook and ebook as well. Get your copy today at starcgames.com/NLM.
Storm's popularity has been well documented here this weekend. 8 copies into day 2 among these 126 players for Shardless Sultai. 5 copies of that deck into day number 2. Both of these players pacing the field with their respective archetypes. Let's see if they're going to keep it going. Again, the winner of this match likely into the top 8.
Yeah, for Rudy, it's still a bit fuzzy.
A little bit.
Because
Just
of
a
the
little
draw.
bit. Yeah.
He could conceivably 0-2 the last 2 rounds and be out. For Ben, I believe a win here puts him in a position where he could actually lose
And
into
still
the
be in
top
there.
8.
Yeah.
So a lot riding on this game.
Ben was our lone 9-0 coming into competition today. Lost his first match of the day to Jeskai Delver. Hasn't lost since. It's been a fantastic tournament for him. Really, his tournament so far reminds me of last weekend where in Washington, D.C., it was really just Gerard's tournament through and through.
Ran through the whole thing.
Yeah. Paced the field with the Sultai control deck. Did Fabiano. Won the tournament. Took home $5,000, 25 Open Series points, and, of course, an invitation to our Season 1 Invitational.
And much like Gerard, we were able to catch the one loss on camera.
Yeah.
Gerard taking a loss to Andrew Boswell, who also finished in the top 8.
The boss.
Then with that Jeskai Delver loss, and if he were to lose this match, we would have both of them on record.
It's true. Things just did not come together there for Ben in that game. Even though Rudy was stuck on one land for a while, but Rudy had a good hand. Took him a little while to find some lands, but once he did, good to go. Those Force of Wills were timely as well. Ben going to very quickly mulligan, so did not like what he saw there. Looks like Rudy's going to keep his hand.
And it's so punishing to mulligan against Rudy's deck in these post-board games because he's bringing so much discard to the table. Dylan collects Thoughtseize, his Hymn to Torax, Leon of the Veils.
Oh, he's got it all.
Got it all.
The question is, can he get it out in time? Can he convert those cards and actually cast them? And if he can, life is actually pretty good. But Ben can kill quickly, and Ben doesn't have to really worry about counter magic very much, given what Shardless Sultai is trying to do, which is use Shardless Agent. So you're not going to worry about Daze or Spellpiercer or Flusterstorm.
Pretty way to cascade into counter spells. So you typically only see Force of Will as counter spells in these decks. Unless you're willing to go up to some 3-mana plus ones, which are pretty tough to cast in Legacy.
Just a smidge. Some 4-bids and undermines.
Mm-hmm. Undermine is sweet. Rudy's deck kind of beat down, kind of control.
Void Slime.
Void Slime, yes.
I can just rally off 3-mana counter spells.
Mystic Snake.
That's a little expensive. That's a
little
little
expensive.
expensive. Great flavor card, though. I'm going to exclude a personal favorite of yours. Here's a... Uh-oh.
Ho, Ben, slow down.
So Lion's Eye Diamond to start. Now, he could just be casting this, so he isn't discarding it to a Thoughtseize or anything of that. Or he could be winning on turn 1.
Yeah, does not necessarily mean he's going for a kill. Rudy with appears to be an excellent hand again. Death Red Shaman, Thoughtseize, Force of Will, blue card.
Where does he want to lead? The Thoughtseize or the Death Red Shaman? That's the question. He's even a little unsure. Given that Ben played Lion's Eye Diamond on turn 1, I would want to play Thoughtseize.
But it sort of indicates that he's not planning on going for a kill.
Yeah, I just want to see what's up.
Okay.
That's all. I get scared. I'm no coward. I'm who I am. I got this sweet discard spell. I'm going to be super mad if I end the game with Thoughtseize in my hand. I won't be mad if I end the game with Death Red Shaman in my hand.
Sure. I mean, Ben's got something going on over there because he is giving this a pause, and you can see the Passing Flames in his hand, which is sort of the secondary synergy with Passing Flames, or excuse me, with Passing Flames after Infernal Tutor.
Yep. Here's Thoughtseize. Cabal Therapy, Past in Flames, and Lotus Petal. There goes Past in Flames. Graveyard's not the worst spot for that, but Deathrite Shaman says maybe it is.
Yeah, Rudy's going straight for it. And now he's saying ad nauseum or bust.
Yep. So there goes Past in Flames. Ben no longer has that weapon to use in this game. Left with a rather mediocre hand here in Cabal Therapy. And Lotus Petal. Ben gonna sacrifice his Scalding Tarn, it seems. Maybe not.
Remember, the only protection in Rudy's hand right now is the Force of Will. Ben's still sitting on Cabal Therapy.
It's a Jace. Is it time for a Brainstorm?
Well, I don't think Fate Sealing Ben does a ton here because he can always shuffle his deck.
It does force the crack of a fetch land, which is worth a little something. Not a ton, but a little. Raptor's Cage among the cards here. Liliana and Pluto Delta, the other two. Two, of course, will have to go back for Rudy. Gonna put Forest and Cage on top.
But Ben can find Infernal Tutor. I mean, we could see some real fireworks.
There's an island.
Got to get a move on soon here because it's getting worse.
That's what Jace does to games. Makes things worse the longer it's in play. Shh. Liliana the Veil. Elevator going up. Rudy will discard a Forest. Ben will discard a card. Jace gonna go up. Take a look at the top card. Ben doesn't mind. That'll stay.
Legacy open players, that is time in the round. Active player finishes.
Ben will sacrifice the turn.
Then proceed with up to 5 additional turns. Legacy open players, that is
He did the check to see, was Rudy bluffing there? Because a lot of people will immediately Fate Seal with Jason, leave on top against a fetch land because a savvy player will immediately sack the fetch land. So sometimes people leave good stuff on top knowing that the player will just sacrifice anyway. So it's always good to see what kind of level your opponent's on.
I always have to know.
Gotta know.
I do. It's like when I mulligan, I look. Doesn't influence my decision. I'm just kind of curious. I have some idiosyncrasies.
Sure.
They're completely unreasonable.
Don't we all?
Like you don't look at the top card of your deck to see if the next burn spell is going to be there. Let's be honest here.
Well, with the Jace and the Fate Sealing, it actually matters
well, sure.
on a strategic level.
I agree. But I just want to know sometimes about everything.
You can see Rudy there just pitching the Gravedigger's Cage. With Past in Flames exiled for the remainder of the game, Gravedigger's Cage has lots of utility.
That does not need that. Rudy says, you can have that card. I don't care one bit. Ben is just going to pass. Deathrite Shaman will take care of the Cabal Ritual. And Rudy's coming at Ben from multiple angles. Ben already ready to discard a Tropical Island. Rudy Fate Sealing. You see him not casting the Shardless Agent here because he needs a blue card for Force of Will.
Yep, and he's basically got the win in play. He doesn't need to do much past this.
Yep. Deathrite activation. Nile Spellbound the draw. That's
Another
something that
card.
Cycles.
Another card with, no real utility at this point, but at least a cycler.
Liliana activation. Rudy ready to discard. He'll discard a Tropical Island. Ben will have to discard a card, of course. Be a Cabal Ritual. Take a look at the top card here from Jace with the Fate Seal. Top card stays on top. Take a draw. Weinburg in a bad way right now.
Yep.
There goes the Kabbalah Ritual. Ancestral Vision's the draw.
This does allow Rudy to cast a Starless Agent if he's feeling so inclined.
Yep. He can do a Brainstorm, put it back, resolve Ancestral Visions.
I think he wants to go all the way to the Fate Seal train here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think you just don't want to be in a situation where there's 2 Infernal Tutors on the top of Ben's deck. You Fate Seal one, he draws the other one, and you lose. I think you want to get the game over with as fast as possible. And as fancy as Starless Agent and Ancestral, all that is, I think it's not that much help.
Well, here's Charles Agent. There's a Baleful Strix.
Woohoo, on the house.
Yep.
My favorite thing.
Yep. We're going to have to get you a Charlotte Sultai deck, I see.
Yep.
Ben will take a draw.
Pretty impressive board here for Rudy.
A couple Planeswalkers and Jason Liliana, a couple of creatures. Here's a Cabal Therapy. There goes Force of Will. And Ben just wanted to get a little look on his way out the door. Fair enough. Rudy Briksza's going to win this match here over Ben Weinburg. Charlotte Sultai will take care of Storm. And Briksza moves on to 11-1-1. Another great legacy tournament for him.
Yeah, just been putting on a real clinic and still not quite a lock for top 8 because of that draw. Probably needs at least one more win. Next round should do him just fine, but in a great position.